Hello everyone, it's Jared here from CryptoPlant and Merry Christmas. We have just been able to go to Pennies, which is like the equivalent of, I don't know, wherever you are in Australia, if it's Kmart. You can get good, decent, cheap, fashionable clothes. And I've got my Christmas jumper ready here, so I thought I'd wear that and be very festive. And welcome to this video. This was a very difficult one for me to actually want to do, one because I'm very cautious about bragging or telling people out there what I've invested in, how much I'm investing in. And it's a very personal thing, but I feel it's the right time because I've got some good points to make besides the actual physical dollar profits or percentage gains in my portfolio. It's about how I switched a mindset, and that has then led to me increasing some gains. So this video is about how I've pretty much increased my portfolio over the last month by about 100%. So I've doubled my portfolio. And yes, it fluctuates from a day-to-day basis, but there's been a point in time where it's been over 100% gains on my returns of my original investments. And I'm going to outline what I did before, a month ago, as in which stocks I sold out of and which stocks I bought into. And then I'm going to explain why those stocks I moved into were a better play than the original stocks that I had sold out of. And I'm also going to, just kind of give a wider overview of why you should use technical analysis to kind of pick your stocks, because especially stocks with a bit of history and where market cycles show that there might be potential profit to be taken in the future depending on macro environmental things that are going on, why technical analysis is a better tool to use than, say, fundamental analysis, which is telling you that this company should do well based on their products or services. Before we get into it, I would love it if you could smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and say Merry Christmas to all your friends and family, because it's going to be the best Christmas ever, because we're going to get to actually see each other. Because hopefully the lockdowns, especially in Ireland here, and I know in Australia, everything's going well there. We're all going to get to meet up and connect and just go, do you know what? Dumpster fire of a year, as Moon Lambo says, and let's move on to the next year by having a good old cracking Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everyone. And I'm just going to tell everyone to make sure that everyone aware that I am the bull in the bull market right now. I am a Taurus, and I'm drinking some throat coat tea so that my voice comes across very nice and clear to you all. All right, so let's do a dive into. You've got up on the screen here Trading 212. It's one of the platforms I use for investing. I also invest in some cryptocurrencies, and I also invest in the Australian stock market with another brokerage app that I use. So for today, we're using Trading 212. And I'm looking at the top left corner of the screen here at the 3-month chart, and you can see that for 2 of those months, my portfolio was kind of slightly hovering above my investment. So I don't know if you can see there's a grey dotted line, which is money in, and then the blue line is current value or return on your investments. So for a while there, it was going up and down. And then where are we here? 28th of October, it dipped down below. And then from then onwards, it has gone onwards and upwards. Bit of retracement there. And then, so we've had a good month. Now, the reason for that is because I reshuffled my portfolio and decided that I was going to get rid of my portfolio, which had a lot of different stocks in it. I think at one point I had a pie that I'd made up which had 20 stocks in it, and then I had 4 or 5 or 6 other stocks separately to that, and I was just kind of doing the usual thing that investors do, and they go, I want this is hot, I want this is hot, this is hot, oh that'll do well, that's the hype at the moment. And I was FOMOing into things. So I admit it, I was making all the mistakes, and I've made other videos about that I've made mistakes. That has taught me along the way to do some things, that is cut out the noise, cut out all the things that are making you make the bad decisions, and focus in on one thing and one key area investing that you kind of know and you're confident in. And so that's what I did. I sold a whole bunch of growth stocks, a whole bunch of stocks that I had a little bit in, and I was kind of hoping and hopium that they would do well in the future, but I had no idea really whether they were going to do well in the future. But what I did know is that on a macro trend, cryptocurrency was in a bull market. So I had already had a small position in companies like Argo blockchain and RIOT blockchain. But what I did is I shifted all of my portfolio resources. So I sold out of a lot of things, some at a loss, some at a profit, sold out of everything and put it into 3 stocks, which is Argo blockchain, Marathon Patent Group, and RIOT blockchain. And why did I do that? I did that because I believed, and I still believe, that it is the simplest play for me at the moment to get the most growth out of my stock investing money. And why is that? Because as the Bitcoin goes up in price, these miners are mining a certain amount of Bitcoin the same way a gold mine would mine gold. So they produce, whether it's 10 Bitcoins a month, 100 Bitcoins a month, they're seriously digging these Bitcoins out of the ground and they're selling them. But what's happening is that they're producing at a fixed cost a number of assets that is going up in price. So today they sell their 10 Bitcoins at, nearly $20,000. Next month, they could be selling their 10 Bitcoins at $25,000. And the month after that, it could be $30,000, $50,000. It might go back to $25,000. But in the next 4 years, when the amount of Bitcoins per block can be received, so the mining reward will stay constant from May this year until in 4 years' time, the next May, when the next halving event goes on, they're going to with a fairly certain degree of accuracy, predict the amount of Bitcoins they go up. So say they mine 100 this month, they might get 90 the next month and 110 the next month. Or, I'm not 100% certain exactly how it goes and the consistency of it, but they've got a certain amount of hash rate, which has a certain amount of ability to solve that problem and get the mining reward, right? So I believed that those 3 stocks that I've said were undervalued, and I believe that the thing that they were producing is undervalued, or as in it's going up. So while their stocks were undervalued, it had room to grow towards their profit margins. And then we're also going up in an upwards trend in the market in general of the product that they're selling, which is Bitcoin. And then the other element to it is that if they have a reserve of some of those Bitcoin, so if they say we want to hold 100 Bitcoins at all times, if the Bitcoin goes to 50,000, 100,000, they are 10xing their capital reserve. So at any time they can pull the trigger on expansions or acquisitions or whatever they want. So it was just a simple play for me. So I'm going to detail using charts what I sold out of, what I sold into, and I've already explained why I sold into it. And then, having a look at the stocks I moved into versus the future of the stocks that I moved out of, right? So let's get right into that technical analysis. Let's just have a look at this chart, and there's a key date here. So it was the 21st of October. So this is where I'm using from the 21st of October towards the 21st of November, or towards the end of November. So on the 21st of October, I had $3,117 invested for €125 return. So it was about break even, just slightly better than break even, 4% return on my money. This was the day where I rebalanced my portfolio. I sold out of pretty much everything and got it down to 3 shares. Now there's 6 shares in there at the moment because there's future plays into gold and copper, but RIOT, Marathon Patent Group, and Argo blockchain were the 3 shares I had on these subsequential days. Now, I did make a small mistake, and I probably should have sold out into cash, held for a few days, because Marathon Patent actually dropped with the whole entire market about 15%. So I had that panicky moment where I was like, I just put everything into these things and they dropped too. But what happened is they recovered. They recovered well, and they recovered strongly. So since that 21st of October, the account balance was $3,242. And yes, I've invested more cash into it. But you'll see now that on the 1st, and let's go back to here, on the 27th of November, it was a 76% return. So I'd invested 4,594 for a 76% return, and then up to its most recent peak where I think we just cracked the 10,000 mark, and it doesn't show that. I think we might have to go to the monthly chart where it cracked 10,146 for an investment of $5,003, right? So I had at one point in just over a month, I had doubled my money. So that's the evidence there. I don't want to go too much into this kind of trading portfolio thing. It's not about bragging. It's not about me turning 5 into 10. It's about what I did, why I did it, and where I think it's going. Okay, so we're moving on to the workhorse chart. So Workhorse was a stock that I was super bullish on because I was listening to a YouTuber called Jack Spencer, and he was so bullish on it that I was like, do you know what? I believe this stuff. He was giving the right fundamental analysis. He believes in the company, and I still believe in the company, and fundamentally they are a great play in the EV market. Now, they are a great play in the EV market, but I'm going to detail why I got out of them, why I sold all of my Workhorse. And at one point I had 70 or 80 shares, and I was up 90% at a certain time. So I think I initially bought in around here. I think my cost basis was somewhere in the 15s. And I saw them go all the way up here, and I was watching the technicals, and I was understanding like this thing's going to pop. There was this bull flag pattern playing out. So it had jumped from $2.41, big flag up, and I just thought, well, if it flagged up that much, it's going to flag up again twice as much. And I didn't know as much about the stock or the company at the time that I bought in. So my subsequent journey wasn't as fruitful as I thought, because these stocks do not just go up forever. And this is what you need to know. So I bought in around $15, let's say. I saw it go up to close to 30. I saw it pull back to 20. So feeling great. Feeling terrible, back to 20. Feeling great, it's heading up 27. It's retracing again, back down to 22. So you're watching your portfolio, increase by substantial amounts in one day, and then 2 or 3 days later, it's going down, right? So it's like this emotional journey of like, why isn't my stock just going to keep going up and up, right? So that was one part of it. And I think around here, I'd seen it going to 30. I'm like, I felt deep down I needed to take profits, and I think at a couple of times I'd set limit or sell orders of 32, so I thought it's just got to creep up above where it's hitting the next time, but not knowing that really, and if we zoom out again, that since its last correction back down to 15 or below my original buy price, so I could have sold everything out at 30 and bought in again the same amount and ridden it back up to that 30 mark again, that it didn't quite break 30. So $30 is clearly a ceiling for this stock. And why is it a ceiling for this stock? Because it is not making any money. It's not producing any money. The market is willing to speculate up to $30 based on them getting a contract for the UP or the postal service, based on them going into drones and getting approval for that, based on them going to refrigeration trucks, based on the fact that Hitachi's working with them to make them run more efficiently. But the fact of the matter is that they cannot even produce 100 vehicles a year at the moment. So they are in market, they are selling things, but they can't fill their orders fast enough to actually make any more profit or show the market that they are worth more than $30. What I believe right now, they're actually worth somewhere in this range, because this is the consolidation range where the real true investors and the people that are sitting pretty in this stock and holding and can afford to hold are the ones that bought it around this range, because you can see it's gone up and down in this, what is it, $5.50 to $2 range, right? And maybe a bit lower from time to time, but clearly back here in the 8th of May 19 was when maybe the market first got the news that these were a real player, and they went up and they've consolidated in this range. So if you got it anywhere in here, well done to you, hold on to your stocks. But if you bought anywhere, even at the 15 mark, yeah, hold on to them if you want, but for a long time, it is going to bobble around in here, and it could potentially go back as low as $5 if they don't get that contract. So be aware of stocks like Workhorse. So I sold on my Workhorse. Luckily, that one was at a profit. I sold at 1987, so I'd made about $5 a share on my whole portfolio, which was, I think, 70 shares at the time. So I made a little bit of money on that one. RIDE, or Lordstown Motors. Now, this one I actually lost money on. I had to lose money on it. Now, I had a cost basis of somewhere, I think I had even a cost basis after that of 21 or 22 shares at $21-ish. And it went all the way up and then it went all the way down. But on the way down, on the 18th of October, where I've got 21st of October, where I've got this line, I sold at $19.74. So I took a loss on that particular. Stock because this was the day that I chose to put all of my money into blockchain and crypto, right? Oh, I need that throat coat tea. And once again, when you're seeing your stock that you bought and it goes all the way up to the top here, this $31 mark, there's something inside you that says, I should sell. I'm up 100% or I'm up, 70 or 80% very quickly. And that's probably right. You probably should sell half and see what happens and sit on the money. But I didn't. I thought it's going to go to the moon. Everyone loves this stock. People can't get enough of it. But the reality is that RIDE will not sell a vehicle for at least another 12 months. So once again, zooming out, the market is telling us that it is not willing to pay any more than $31.99. Even the most FOMO investor is not willing to pay any more than $31, $32 for this stock right now because they're not making money. They are speculating. They are valuing this company for 5-10 years in the future when they will fulfill those large pre-orders. So anytime between now and a year, you're going to see this stock go up and down, depending on what Tesla does and depending on what the stock market decides that EVs in or out or cool or not cool at the moment. You can swing trade this baby all the way till they're selling 100,000 pickup trucks a year. Because when they're selling 100,000 pickup trucks a year, eventually the stock will settle to a value that is maybe a little bit fair. You can buy in then or hold in then and just watch your profits go up because they're a good company. They will be a good company. They've got everything going for them. Just right now, they're being manipulated because they are an overvalued EV play in a market that is a bull market. The third stock that I sold everything out of was Lancandia. Now, I also lost money on this. I think I had a cost basis of somewhere around the 17 or 16 or 17 mark, and I sold out on the 21st of October all the way down here. Now, this is a little bit of a different beast, and I think if you see what's happened, it has broken that resistance there of, what was it, 1918, because this is a SPAC, and this SPAC, and maybe I shouldn't have sold this one. I probably might buy into this one again. It's Golden Nugget Casinos. Now, they are acquisitioning or purchasing a company that is physically making money. It is selling gambling products online. It's an industry that makes money. It's an industry that's growing, especially during lockdowns. People are using these things to bet and to place, just to gamble, basically. So Golden Nugget Casino is what Lancandia will end up being, and I think this candle here tells us that news is happening, it's coming through. So what we'll see is that it'll probably pump up again and then it will correct and it might find a level a little bit higher. But this stock, you will see it project further on in the future as profits and announcements of the money that is made from the business of online gambling. But anyway, for the purpose of this video, on the 21st of October, I lost about 20% on my holdings in Lancandia. So we came from growth stock plays, stock market plays, manipulated stocks in the market that were fluctuating up and down. And what did we go into? We went into RIOT blockchain. We have a nice little position in RIOT blockchain. I have an average price of 340, and as you can see that since October 21, I had some already, so I've over this period I have increased my position in this company, especially during this dip here. So I've got a good position here, and if we go over here to use our, where are we? We use our price range tool, and if I go from the 21st of October to now, and we go on the close price there, 193% in that particular stock. So since I rolled over all my investments or rebalanced my portfolio into cryptocurrency stocks. This particular stock has made 193%. So I think on Friday yesterday, it peaked at 200%. So I've nearly tripled my money in that. That was evidence that was a good play, right? And it's not jumping up and down because this is dependent on what's happening in Bitcoin right now. The market is saying, I want to heavily invest in this stock because Bitcoin is going up in a bull market. This stock will correct as Bitcoin corrects, but then it will go up when Bitcoin corrects. In general, it's kind of following that same pattern, which Bitcoin is, which is onwards and upwards. I think, look, let's just go over to Bitcoin there for a second. You can see that Bitcoin is this onwards and upwards correction, onwards and upwards. It's printing a good, decent growth pattern. Marathon Patent Group. When I rolled everything over out of these growth stocks, I didn't have any position in Marathon Patent Group. And I was very lucky that on the 21st of October was a good time that I had rolled everything over. It might have been better if it was around the 25th of September because that was the retracement low from this $5.10 peak. But the beautiful thing is that during this period on the 21st, when I rolled a lot of my portfolio into Marathon Patent Group, I have been able to slowly increase my position as it went down 15% from that day, and then through this consolidation period build a bigger position. So it didn't just skyrocket from the 21st and I sat there and go woohoo and FOMO'd in. I've had a chance to increase my position during a consolidation period before it's gone up. So once again, let's get our price range tool and go from that 21st of October when I rolled everything over to now, and we'll go to even to the close there. It's 121% up. And you can see that at some point, so there's price evidence, price history that it's been up 180%. So let's just leave it there for the reality of it, that this stock here, since I built a position in it based on my average price, I'm up 120%. So we're up 195% on RIDE blockchain. We're up 120% on Marathon Patent Group. And then we are up on Argo blockchain. And if we go over here, and we can see that I've got a nice parallel channel printed there in lines to show that what it's been doing. But this one I already had a position in once again before the 21st of October, but I increased that position on the 21st of October with some of the funds I had. So we'll just do some simple analysis. Once again, blockchain miner. This one's different. It's on the London Stock Exchange, which I can invest in through Trading 212. So we'll just go there, and from my average buy price, we've seen up to 143% growth, but we've closed Friday at 113% growth. So 3 stocks that I've moved into have gone up by in excess of 100% in just over a month. Now let's go back to our other stocks and see what they've done in the last month and see, did I do the right thing? So did I do the right thing? So if I had have held my workhorse at, let's say, and I'll even do it I'll do it roughly on 1550 there. If I had held my workhorse, today I would be up 44%. If I'd held my original position and done nothing, maybe I would have bought in a little bit more. I'm still only, for my dollar for dollar investment, 44% up based on a 1550 entry. If I had have held on to my RIDE shares, where would I be? So if my cost basis was somewhere around there and it went up to there, so it went up to as much as 45, but it's closed Friday, so I'm up 11% in my RIDE shares if I had have held through all that volatility of like, oh my God, I've lost so much money, and then it's corrected, right? So what have we got? A 44% and 11%, and then our LCA. What would have happened here? This one's probably a little bit of a better story, and maybe no regrets there, but if I had let's say a $17 buy-in, we closed the day at 23. So there's 38% there, and it looks like some good things are going to happen there. in Lancandia, right? So if I had have held everything the way I had it, I wouldn't have been in a bad position today. I probably would have been up, say, 30% in my portfolio. But what I have done has got me up towards 200% in my portfolio. And do you know what? Like, there's no wrong thing, and I don't want to kind of beat on people that are playing highly speculative EV plays at the moment or playing these SPAC stocks, because there's money to be made, and sometimes a good thing to hold on to these stocks for the long term. I have to be transparent about my play in this market is that, and if you look over this whiteboard here, what I want to do with the growth of my investments is roll them over into actual business investments, So this is my planning area. So I'm not building a portfolio to hold and use in retirement to sell out or to buy a house in 5 or 10 years. I'm using a really aggressive strategy to try and create some capital to start investments that I fully have control of. So I don't, I'm not just investing in somebody else's business that they choose the direction. I'm investing in a business where I choose the directions and I can decide how the profits get spent, how much profit gets taken, those kind of things. So that's my personal play, and that's why I'm happy that I've got a large, towards a 200% gain in a month, because I'm hoping that increases, because I'm onto a macro trend, which is cryptocurrency, and buying the shovel, which is buying the people that are mining the Bitcoin, not the Bitcoin itself, because Bitcoin will go up a lot, but it won't go up as much as these Bitcoin miners, because they are buying and selling and buying and selling on a regular basis. Bitcoin is just going up by the value. The market agrees that it is worth more today, tomorrow, and the next day. I'm just going to finish this video quickly because we've detailed what I did to do what I did, which is sell out of some growth stocks, buy into some cryptocurrency related miners that have clearly had really good growth in the last month and plan to have excellent growth. And 3, the last point we come to is, let's have a look over here, and I'm going to go back to RIDE, is zooming out even further, and why I'm so super bullish on these stocks is that on the last bull run in cryptocurrency, there is evidence that these stocks have had a large spike in price. So there have been bubbles that have been formed. So being prepared now, and these lines are here are all kind of targets where I'm going, maybe I take a little bit out there, take a little bit out there, and then see what happens beyond the last all-time high. So unlike your workhorse, your ride, there's no price history in those charts for people to see and go, well, I can ride that to the next all-time high, and there's a percentage of profit there. These are all in price discovery because they are companies that aren't making money, so they are priced in the future already, whereas these companies are making money and they're getting priced for the future. So it's only at these bubble points that they are well overvalued. So right now, and I think if you let's go back to the 21st of October, and I think I'm going to add the indicator, the RSI indicator, and there. So back on the 21st of October, they were still in fairly decent territory, and if you had bought a few days before that, they were well oversold. So in this range here, in this consolidation range where I kind of increased my position, they were in the middle of the RSI. So they were kind of here nor there stock to the market anyway, and they were a great buying opportunity. Yes, now they're oversold. I wouldn't get in right now because the percentage gains, are halved and quartered even. But getting in right then, the RSI was at the right level. And same deal with Marathon Patent Group. We zoom out again and we can see there's evidence here in the last bull run, December 2017 through to January, that we had a decent price of $26. So for a stock that is trading today at $5, that it could potentially go to its all-time high in this next bull market, it's a 5x. It's a no-brainer to people that trade and people that want to look at these charts and use them as a long-term investment. So whereas once again, going back to Workhorse, Lancandia, Lordstown Motors, there's no evidence to show where it will go. The market is going to decide where the price discovery goes. And right now, for companies that are making no money, $30 is their limit. And that's just the way it is. And then finally, Argo blockchain, which is a little bit different because it's a newer company, and it probably started after the last bull run had fully happened. So it started really high and kind of spent most of its time in the bear market. It is going to go into price discovery. So this is a little bit different of a one, and probably my smallest position for that reason is that there's no evidential price point where it'll go. We can only predict that it may follow a similar trend to what the other two blockchain miners did do in the last bull run, which is they might go up another 5 or 10 times from here. So that's where we're at with our Argo blockchain. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there because these stocks, as you can see, and they are acting and they're going to play like gold miners and silver miners during a bull market. They will go up to an extreme bubble scenario, and then they will pop and they'll come back down and they'll find their new level of resistance. But the thing is that I believe that these companies will hold a good, strong level of resistance in the future because they are established, they have increased their hash power, and they will continue to sell Bitcoins into the market and make profits, make solid profits for the next 4 years while the Bitcoins aren't being halved. And then we'll relook at whatever I have left in them to see what happens long term. I'll see what happens at the next halving. You know, we might kind of start the process again, you know, start the next bull run, right? So that's where we're at. I hope that you've got some value out of this video. Please don't want this video to be the focus that, look at me, I'm a new investor that's lucked onto some stocks that have gone up really high and you didn't get in the same time as me. It's about looking at the macro, using the technical charts and understanding, is the stock I'm buying overvalued for what it's actually producing? You know, is it fully speculative, or is it speculative with some solid fundamentals that are showing cash flows, that are showing potential return on investment to investors? And I believe that these blockchain related companies are, and I believe that anything in the fintech space that is kind of using cryptocurrencies is going to really, really ride the next bull market and probably hold better values after the market correction, which will happen in maybe 1 year, 2 years. So that's my thesis, and that's my bullish case for blockchain related crypto miners or people in the fintech space. And I think I'll just quickly, for anyone that has stuck around, you can invest in Hive blockchain, a similar story. They're mining Bitcoin. MoneyGram International using Ripple for international payments. Square, they let you trade in Bitcoin on their app. They actually own some Bitcoin in treasury, so their stock is going to hold value as the price of Bitcoin increases. MicroStrategy, they just bought another 50 million in Bitcoin after already having $500 million in Bitcoin at 11,000. So if they have $500 million at 11,000 and the price of Bitcoin is nearly 20,000 now, what's the math there? They're nearly $1 trillion market cap company. Probably over $1 trillion market cap. And this fuel cell energy, this is an EV play, but it's acting, the chart is acting like a cryptocurrency. Because it's been through a massive bear market and it's consolidated and now it's popping out. So I'm interested in that. I've got a small portion in that. And the other ones that I'm really into is gold mining and silver mining and copper mining stocks, because they've just been through heavy bear markets for over 9 years now. And they're currently heading towards, if they aren't already in their next bull run, these commodities or these precious metal stocks are in definitely a solid uptrend and a reversal from their bear market. So that's the next place I'm looking. While everyone's going to be raving about crypto, everyone's raving about EV stocks, raving about this growth stock, that growth stock, NEO, what it did, what it didn't do, I'm going to be looking into junior mining companies that are going to make large percentage gains during the next gold, silver, copper, uranium, rare earth metals, you name it, all these products that are used to make the EV cars, to make the wind farms, to make the power plants, to make the mobile phones, to make the technologies to go into space. These are the core things that are going to be used in all those industries, and that's why I'm looking there. Even like coking coal for the steel. There's all these commodities out there that no one's really watching, no one's looking at, no one's hyping, and they're there to be bought up at fairly decent prices at the moment. if you're doing your research and you're picking out the stocks, and I do have other videos on gold, silver, and copper companies I'm watching, so please like and watch those videos as well. But I'm going to leave it there. This is a long video because I really wanted to draw out why I think that being bullish on things that have macro trends tied to them is a very good play, as opposed to, yes, there's a macro trend in the EV market and long term they'll be bullish, but they're not making enough of a profit for the market to continue to push that price upward. So we've got to wait for some of those EV plays to actually start turning some revenue rather than just kind of spending money on development. So we'll wait and see, and I'll keep checking in on what my portfolio does compared to the EV stocks that I could have held, and just see what the kind of, the outcome is at the end of this bull run anyway. Thank you if you've watched the end. I know I'm a very small new channel, but if you have watched the end, I'm so thankful, because this means a lot to me if you watch me. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Not that this will be the last video, but it's just the first video with the Christmas jumper. Do you like my new lighting? I have a new little studio set up, which I'm super pumped about, because I get to show my face on camera and it's not just you watching the charts and me talking over. So anyway, from the Aussie guy that lives in Ireland and is learning with you about stock investing and crypto investing and understanding the macro trends in the world, so that we put our dollars to use in the right areas that are growing, then see you later and bye for now.